Okay, so I've got quite a bit of the body done. I'm looking at this. This is going to be way too heavy here. So I want to take some of that off. Now, I've already put blue on my brush because I had some ideas for the background. So I'm going to just start putting stuff in. Now, when I paint, I don't like to do just solid lines. Okay, my way of painting is probably different than a lot of other people, but I like to that's one of the reasons I like to use the R&F pigment sticks, because I don't like to make a solid background. So I think it gives the painting more depth. I'm using cerulean blue and just kind of, I'm deliberately trying to leave some of that black in the background. Now, I don't like the way this hairline is. What I'm doing right now is just making references for myself so that when I go back, you can do that with either blue or black. I think I'll do it with the black. And the reason I'm doing this is so painting is a process, literally. And as you're going through these different phases, you can leave yourself little markers. Like, I'm going to make this little detail. I want this little piece of the hair to come down just like that. And I want it to be asymmetrical. Typically, the way I do it is I want the hairline to go in one line. I don't want it to be straight across like this, so it's even on both sides. I want it to be a little bit out of proportion. Now, this is light right here, but I'm going to put some blue on the top of that black, just so I know that that's going to be the background. So I'm basically helping myself further along here by saying, okay, this is background and this is going to be the figure. So I'm giving myself some reference points, which I like to do at this stage. So now I know which way the hairline's going to go, right on that left side of her head. I know what way is that going to go. Now you notice that this comes down kind of at an angle. I'm not sure I like that kind of sharp point right here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. This is already, right, this is acrylic paint, so I've got oil paint now. And I want this to come down like this, but I like kind of that rounded edge. So I'm not going to put a real heavy line there. All I'm doing is giving myself some reference points to, when I go back, to go, that's going to be the background. So I'm going to leave this blue so I can find that. You know, a lot of times when I'm painting, I don't really understand what I'm doing. But it's just, it's like anything else. You do it for quite a long time, and you just start to develop the process and what works for you and what doesn't. So I'm not sure I still like that line. So I'm going to keep you working the blue over the top of that. And again, I'm not doing a solid line. I'm not doing a solid background. I don't need a solid background. What I want is to create depth right here. Now, just for fun, let's take a stencil, okay? Typically I use a bigger brush than this, but I don't want to go too far from the camera. So here's my stencil, right? I don't like to make sharp lines when I do stencil work, and I'm just going to screw around with this just so you can see sort of what I do. Now, at this point in the game, I don't get stuck on anything in terms of an idea. So I'm just going to kind of make this just slightly lighter than what I have here, so it'll show up. I gotta add a little more weight to that. No, it didn't come out real dark, but you can get the general idea. Now, let's say that I hate that, right? There's really nothing that I'm stuck on right now. I don't like the way that line came out. So I think right now, since I didn't do that stencil real well, it's good to make mistakes in front of you, because then you can see that that's what you do in order to find out what works and what doesn't. Notice I don't want that background one solid color. I've got a lot. Actually, there's probably 4 different values of blue in there, which is what I wanted to create. before I start stenciling, what I think I'll do is let this dry. And I've got some other paintings that I'm working on, so I'm not going to stop working. I'm just going to stop working on this particular piece. So I'm going to get a little bit of the background done. And I want to work around her hair because I want to figure out how I'm going to do this. So do I want this piece coming out? Do I want it that far out? That seems a little far. I'm going to leave it there for now. And I'm going to go back over with my cerulean blue. Just to kind of get, now I probably went in too far here. This is what paper towels are really good for. I'm just going to make my line so I know what to follow there. Oh, that's Jasper squeezing a toy. You'll have to excuse him for his very rude behavior. So I'm just going to go around this hair. Again, I'm not getting stuck. I want maybe add a little bit of value of lighter blue in here. There's a little bit of gray in that. I just noticed that this piece right here is pulling up a little bit. So I would let that dry and then re-glue it with decoupage glue. But I don't like that edge, so I'm going to take off some of that paint off the top of that. And you can, the other thing about when you're working with the paper and the decoupage glue is dry, let's say that you like this color right here, this kind of fuchsia, but maybe it's just, I'm just going to screw with it just to show you. You can actually paint over it. It's too pink, right? I'm going to put a little red in there, but the red's a little strong, so I'm just going to wipe it off. Just a little bit. Give it a little bit of textural, a little bit of, a little bit more interest visually than just what it was. Usually what I do too when I do these lines, I do these because I want to do each one of these. This is where that flower was, so I'm gonna make shapes and stencils in here with that. But it's coming along, and I'm just gonna finish this arm tonight. And probably put this away until I can let it dry a little bit. This little red spot's a little too strong here. So I just take a little bit of that off. And the good thing about waiting, I think a lot of people try to push through a painting. Oh, I want to get it done. I want to get it done. It never, ever works out like that for me. I can't work like that. A painting has to kind of work itself out and how it wants to be and how it wants to exist. Now, you can see it good. This line right here, I think, is a little too heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, again, I'm using reference points. I want to tell myself later on I'm not real happy with this line. So I'm just going to kind of cover that up a little bit. I like the way these lemons came out. Now around the arm right there, that would be a little darker. So I'm going to put the value just slightly darker than what this is. So you can see that the skin tone is different. It would be darker here, right? That's actually why I left this line here. Because I know when I'm looking at this arm, this would be a lighter surface area than this. So I left that blue in there to tell myself that. Now, see, this is where the paper was, but I'm not real crazy. It's a little too bright and shocking, so I'm just going to tone it down a little bit with that paint color. Just chill, dude, chill. Okay, so I'm going back to my black. For right now, I think I'm going to leave. I don't know about that. Might be too much. We'll have a little. I also like to do these kind of little tail things through the hair. I don't know if I'll leave these. For right now, I'll leave them. So let me just show you. So I kind of like, it's going a little crazy over here, and I might tone it back. So when I did this line, when I was just playing with that black, I realized I kind of like it a little wider, at least right now. But again, I'm not getting stuck. So this is my reference line. I'm just saying, okay, this might work. And then as I get further along, I always step back from my paintings all the time. Like, I'm surprised I haven't gotten up here yet, but So that's going to tell me right now, I'm going to bring it over here. Now, as I get working more in the painting, if I don't like that, I'll just cover it up and just keep working more this way until I like the proportion of the way the hair's moving. So, but I'm going to stop for tonight because I'm getting tired. So I'll show you guys the video tomorrow and see how far I've progressed.